You want to start us off with a toast, Ellen?
I do. With the utmost respect, cheers to Sheila and her wigs.
Hey,
Yes.
You are now watching Mind You Media.
Mind you!
We can't use that. We don't have the rights. You are now streaming Mind You Media. I will drink to that any day.
The utmost respect for Sheila and her wig, and the downmost disrespect to her daughter.
Downmost. Bottommost.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Guttermost. So sorry.
Gutter snipe most.
Okay, get your mic ready because it's Kristen's turn to do the 1-minute episode recap. And, in light of my previous efforts, I would just like to bestow some wisdom. So, you might say I'm like Rayvin and your Grace. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Just based on my experience, don't get too sidetracked with your own comments. Maybe just say it like it is, okay? Just
The difficulty is like it is, it's very hard to track in this episode. This might be one of the hardest episodes to recap. I'll have
What would happen if you just titled each segment? There are so many of them, you might as well just name who's there, what they did. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll try it.
Okay. I'm gonna count to 3.
Ooh.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, Friendship is a Mother. This is episode 10. First, Rayvin and Karen tattoos. Second, Candiace and Dorothy Mother's Day brunch planning. Third, Wendy's talk show. Fourth, NECA goes to furniture shopping with her sister. Then Karen, Giselle, Grace, and Rayvin go to brunch and discuss college. Sheila and Ashley get ready. Candiace has a Mother's Day brunch. Mia is told that Jacqueline was talking to Charisse. Boom. Candiace starts singing. Ashley is not trying to get divorced, and then Robyn and Candiace have a conversation about their friendship. How much do you got left?
You have 7 seconds left.
And you forgot a whole ass segment.
Which season did she forget? Okay, so then.
Oh, and Robyn and her family go to therapy.
Yes.
Don't risk the confusion. The hell has not been frozen over. Okay, they're not in therapy.
They went to go stretch. They got stretched down.
They went to the chiropractor.
That was good.
A useful strategy, naming who was there and what happened, and that's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You did not even really have extra time. That's crazy.
There was so much, and yet still much was unsaid. But
yeah, and I think the key, because we are always watching closely what production is up to. I think it's worth noting, for those watching, how we get just about 9 segments this episode. And maybe 3 or 4 last episode. And this one was rich with content that didn't seem to get aired, right? It's like, Give us more of the Mother's Day brunch. I want to hear what Sheila has to say.
Yes.
Don't leave a cameraman on Sheila the whole time, first of all.
Exactly.
Okay. I want to hear NECA kiss ass around whoever. I'll even take that, please. They cut a whole segment. We'll get there. But it's these are rich events. You could have breakfast with moms and daughters, Robyn at the family, that's rich with content.
The Mother's Day brunch was like an open courtyard full of 20 Black women. The idea that there wasn't rich content,
a fucking treasure trove.
This is almost like the logical extension of the world that we started bemoaning when production started to overproduce in Housewives generally. It's like when you start encroaching too much in producing the reality, then you make the reality. Stop trusting that there might be something that could be captured by putting people in the room together. And it's like, No, that's what we came to this franchise, to these franchises for. Is like, what will happen when these women have a friendship and conflict and do things together? And now it's like RHOP producers don't even trust that anything can come out of women together. They're producing every aspect of what we see.
And the crazy part is, like, in the era of TikTok, we literally watch clips of people wiping their ass on the toilet. We literally watch clips of people pouring coffee in the morning. And you think there is not rich content here to be mined? Like, just roll the fucking tape and play it as it happened. Yeah. And I said this last episode and I'll say it again. They don't like any of those women. They don't respect them. And that's why we don't actually get a glimpse of what they're up to. The producers do not.
Yep.
It's so crazy. It's just a collage of vibes. And then it's like, okay, well, then even though I do not agree with the whole line of like
they're not
critique
wealthy.
That's like, yeah, they're not wealthy. It's like not luxurious enough. But it's like, yeah, if you are just selling the vibes, then give us a vibe. This episode they did actually with that Mother's Day brunch. But it's like, if we're
Candiace gave us a vibe with that Mother's Day brunch.
But it's like, if we're not getting conversation, what are we getting? You know?
What are we here for?
It's a reality show. It's literally for that. Like, and you know what's stupid about them? Like, these people like are supposed to be experts in their field, right? If they watch the shows that do well, the shows with good reputations, the shows that get Emmys, blah, 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 blah. Love Island UK, when it hit the scene. Now, it hasn't been good for a few seasons. Actually, I think this past one was good, but it's like season 5 was Love Island UK in its bag. And you know what's consistently true about Love Island UK? They run the combo.
Yes.
And that's why people love the show.
Yes.
There's drama, but it's also light and happy. And there's conflict, and we're fine with it. And we're indulging in it. You run the combos, okay?
Yes.
People don't, in this alienated ass world, we are barely socializing ourselves. We are literally paying to watch people socialize. Give it to us.
Yes.
Give it to us.
Such a good point, because my gold standard, if you know me, you know my gold standard for a reality TV show is Jersey Shore. Any given episode.
You know that? I know you, and I don't know if I knew that.
No, it truly is.
It is Emmy winning or something, isn't it?
Any given episode, they were at the club one night for like 20 minutes at least, you know? And it's just like, that's just one night of like the goings on at the club. Like, oh, this person's dancing with this person. Oh, now that person's talking to that person at the bar. That's what we want to see. It was a dark room with strobe lights that we were watching. And it's like that. We want to see the dynamics when people are put into a room together. We don't want to see what it looks like. We want to get a sense of what it feels like.
Like, they are walking in the wake of Real World, right? The point of Real World is to put them in the house so we can watch them interact. You are sitting on gold here. And like, it makes no sense. Like, you know, when you have a rich ass night out, like you're at the club, right? And remember in college when we used to fucking party, like it would be 5 to 10 fires. And you give it, like, you go home and not even the let out. You're not even processing at the let out. Let out is part 2 of the fucking night. You go back to the room next Sunday. You spend all of Sunday debriefing on that like 5-hour stint out at night. Because
you spend the whole week sometimes. Like that, I mean, that's
a semester even. Okay? On that one night.
Truly.
Exactly.
Because the nuances were so rich to chew on the whole time. You say, oh wait, I didn't consider that might have anticipated this. Wow.
Yes. The more collaboration you get, the richer it gets. They're like making our job as, you know, discourse generators hard because, or like, you know, discourse reflectors, discourse processors hard because it's like, you won't give us any of the discourse. Like, you won't give us any of the conversation that generates discourse about the show.
Yeah. And what you are giving us is the insulting evidence that you're chopping and screwing what we see. Remember last episode when Candiace and Nneka sit down for lunch and we see the waiters take away their food before they get it, and then we see them receive the food minutes later. It's like, can y'all stop? What's the point? I don't even see a good reason why you had to invert that order. Why?
Yeah.
I don't. It's really disappointing. They need to stop. They're ruining if you only speak dollars and cents, you're losing money. You are losing money for yourselves. Stop it.
Well, and part of why they're losing money too is because they're constantly planning these events. And it's like there doesn't need to be so many things that they're doing. You could actually only show up like a couple like days here and there and just get the real conversations. But instead they're constantly planning events that it's like they're not really showing the meat of, you know.
What do you mean?
Like this Mother's Day brunch. Like what was the whole point of doing all of that if it's like that whole thing should have been an episode? That should have been
because it was Candiace's event. That's why.
Yeah.
And increasingly, like this show, these women so hate each other that you can't actually get them together. Like, I mean, you could do the one-offs, which I would love to see too. Like, oh, Wendy at Candiace's house, but then you would never get to see like the people who hate each other interact. So it's like
my favorite is when they're all there, but I think they will show up to, or at least most of them. Like it doesn't need to be every single one, but if a majority of them are there, I'll take it. Now tell me what they're talking about. Like. Yeah. Remember Atlanta remember Jammy Jam? Remember the Jammy Jam? Not only do I want the wives there, I want their partners or their friends who are surrogates for romantic relationships.
That was like, I feel like that episode was just 55 minutes of just transpiring reactions.
It was that was the best episode ever of all time. Of reality TV, it was.
Remember Apollo and Brandon?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about Apollo the other time. But we actually have to cut this convo because this is not in our plan. Let me move on. Though I have more to say, we're moving on. Tattoos. The first thing that really happens, we see Karen being a cool, hip 20, getting a tattoo with her daughter, Rayvin, who lives in New York and is in PR, to be a little mini me, cute. That's the plan. And they get matching tattoos that say G for Gordon on their feet.
Georgia.
I know. It's not from me, his husband.
Let me just throw in there, like it was really cute that Karen was like, and I think I'm cool because my 25-year-old daughter, and I was like, Karen, you're the cool one out of the two of you.
Easy. Sorry, Rayvin, but not sorry.
Look at Katherine acting like she's in distress. She agrees.
No. I am in distress because I agree. I just feel sad for Rayvin. Yes, never mind. I don't want to speculate.
There's nothing.
She's 25, so we are well within our rights to make her a character who we can. I will just say she's a mama's girl in like a way that's like, ooh, like a mama's girl in a way that's stymieing. You know what I mean? Like too much trying to replicate mama without, and that's not necessarily her fault, but it's almost like, girl, take some space.
This child was poisoned as a child, and you can tell. The ideology was wrong. We have the receipts, okay, to show, you know.
Check us out on TikTok if you want to see the receipts.
Yes, like Karen really has evolved over the course of the show. She's grown as a person. She's much more open and like thoughtful.
But when she started.
Yeah, when she started, she was not. And that was the mother that Rayvin grew up with.
Yeah, right.
See who Rayvin is.
Right.
Yeah. See season 1 and recall the Karen we got there and think about if that woman raised a child.
Right. Yeah. TBF to Rayvin.
And then we see another mother-daughter interaction with Candiace and her mom. Planning a Mother's Day event, which, you know, is going to be a great event, apparently. Dorothy asks who will be invited to said event, and Candiace was very clear that Giselle would not be invited, that though she hates Ashley, she's a sucker for Sheila and Sheila's wig. So Ashley will be invited as their +1. And that also Robyn and her, you know, they have been not connecting, but as the show of good faith, she'll invite Robyn. Moving on, we get a scene then with Wendy trying to launch her, is it a YouTube show?
Yes.
Her YouTube show about current events, but also like just familial energy. And she gets these 2 young producers. She previously had another producer, but she's trying to get this off the ground. So thoughts on Wendy's new show?
Well, I will just say it's a talk show, right? And it's like, I know these don't really, she's right. There's a gap now. These don't exist anymore, but on the model of a Sally Jessy Raphael, a Ricki Lake, a Jenny Jones. Of course, she's not bringing us Ricki Lake or Jenny Jones energy. It's more like Sally Jessy Raphael. Or even
my 7-year-old ass was watching Ricki Lake. I just want to say
How's she doing? How's Ricki Lake doing these days?
I'm gonna look it up.
Ricki was a troll because she would have the most, like, she would have whole episodes about just like people's anti-Blackness, and she would bring them on like, humiliate yourselves, clowns. I will never forget an episode where a Black man said, I just don't fuck with Black women because they got darker elbows.
Yeah. Talk shows used to be crazy, and like the Oprah show was like that too, but people don't remember that. People willfully forgot that.
Yeah, but she would always, that's how Dr. Phil got his start. If she was gonna do some nasty shit, she was like, well, let me have an expert so that I can't be accused of just exploiting and in fact trying to help heal, you know, that which I see wrong.
Tyra did not mind being accused.
Oh my God, I forgot about Tyra's show, and I would like to continue forgetting.
Yeah, Tyra would have someone on talking about elbows.
The only Tyra we honor is that of America's Next Top Model. Okay.
Life size. I honor life size Tyra.
That was not. That's different. Whole different genre.
That's my favorite Tyra.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Shout out to Disney Channel.
Yes.
Okay, the key thing about Wendy and hiring the new producer, she was going in a like Oprah direction. those are Mickey Mouse ears, viewers.
You're watching
early
Disney Channel.
Okay, so Wendy is hiring a new producer because I think her old producer was a little too like, I am critically acclaimed and award winning. So it seems like she wanted to split ownership with Wendy, which Wendy was not having. Fair enough. She's hiring young people as her producers. And I'm like, that's a good idea. Like, it makes sense. You need that to balance you.
Especially for a YouTube show. It's like they'll be more attuned.
Exactly. With their ears to the street. Production once again shows their ugly anti-Black asses by trying to roast her when she's talking about the kind of range she wants for the talk show, which are designed to cover a wide spectrum of issues. Again, on the model of Sally Jessy Raphael and at least Jenny Jones. Okay. So she's like, you know, it's like, I want to talk about the Grammys, being a Black woman, North Korea. That's when she says North Korea, that's when they start the music meant to mock her.
Yes.
I'm like, the woman's a political theorist, you ass hats.
They want it to be like a record scratch.
Yeah. Like,
or like the music that's like, look at her trotting out so many unserious, like strung together ideas that have no coherence. It's like, oh, is she not a political commentator? No, further, is she not a political theorist? Like, why wouldn't she be able to talk about both North Korea on the one hand and the Grammys on the other? Like, why is that impossible to consider?
Were these producers born yesterday? They're idiots. It's also called a cultural critic. Have you ever met bell hooks? Like, what do you think these people do? Have you ever heard Mark Lamont Hill has a show? I'm sure y'all know of it. He talks about everything under the sun, and he does it well. Shout out to Mark, I guess. But the point is that, like, why is she getting shot? This is what she does. Like, be quiet.
They're making her sound so, you know what I feel like they're doing actually? Just like when every time she has a new business venture, they want her to seem like she can't commit. So like, oh, you want to do candles, then you want to do a club, then you want to talk about Black women at the Grammys, then you want to talk about North Korea? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
make up your mind. Who are you? As opposed to like, no, actually that her description of the show was a very like comprehensive plan for a talk show.
Yeah, and I guess it's just a way of saying, stay in your lane, Black bitch. We have just one narrow lane for you.
Yep.
It's like, okay, well, thank God you're not the one who gets to prescribe my lanes, you asshats. I'm just sick of it. It's like, it's actually very triggering to me because it's naked at this point too. Like, stop.
Very much so.
Anyway, oh, I've also watched an episode probably of Wendy's show.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Thoughts on it?
You know how in the confessional she said, while I make you laugh, I said, no, you're not gonna make us laugh, but that's okay. You don't need to make us laugh. That's not your job. But what she does do is like very moving coverage of everyday events. Like, do I fast forward? Like, I don't actually care for entertainment news, to be honest. It's just...
You said very moving, and then you said, do I fast forward?
Because when she's talking about her time at the Beyonce concert, I go, I don't care. But then when she goes like, a little girl got beat up by a non-Black boy calling her the N-word repeatedly, and now that little girl's suspended. She'll give us a story like that and cover it very well. Like, she's not a radical leftist, but she's covering it very well. And I think this is a service to the world.
Okay, dang. Well, we'll link that show in the description box. Meanwhile, let's talk about Nneka and her sister, who, apologies, I forget the sister's name. They are furniture shopping. You learn a lot about Nneka's upbringing. Is the sister older?
I believe she's older. And first thing we learn when she gets there, Nneka's like, I had to bring you with me. She said, yeah, because Ikenna was definitely not going to come furniture shopping for a new home
that he lives in, allegedly.
I just want everyone to like, choose a partner who's going to actually share the life with you. Like, there's no need for this other thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can we not normalize that? It's scary to me.
It's just weird. I just always find that it's not weird. Let me not say it's weird. I'm always surprised that people want to live that way,
I don't think they want to. I think they're just happy to settle for it.
Yes, and that's weird to me. Like, that would be so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That would be very uncomfortable
to like
go on.
A Robyn dynamic.
Yes.
Why Nneka drinks her champagne in the morning? Probably a numbing.
But the Robyn dynamic, that became, I do believe at a time they felt like they were in love, I don't necessarily believe that with Nneka and Ikenna.
Yeah, right. Like, it was almost an arranged marriage.
Exactly. Like, I totally understand.
They're in the honeymoon phase, and that man is nowhere to be found.
Yes. And yes, now someone's drinking at 7 a.m., acting like they're trying to have a baby. Like, what? But you see, the sister is seems to me like that's what Nneka is aspiring to be. Like, the sister had a first child at 23, 24, twins.
Married at 23, first pregnant at 24 with twins. Like,
then in residency by like 26, and it was just like, yeesh.
And pregnant again,
Yeah.
So then you catch her narrate that me and my sister were nemesis. We were each other's nemesis as kids. But now, whatever she says about but now is not like a far cry from nemesis. It's not like she said, like, now we're best friends. It's like, now I'm glad she's here to help me.
Because the first part she said, I would describe our relationship as like sweet and sour or something, or like Sour Patch Kids.
Sour Patch Kids.
Sour Patch, and she used the present tense for that.
She did. Yeah.
And then sets about to, give the stats of her accomplishment vis-a-vis.
And I think the thing I peeped is that there's a lot of reverence for the dad. Daddy, or whatever they call their dad. Sometimes in an immigrant household, the parent will say the American word in a funny way and the kid will absorb it like that's the word and like, or that's the name, like Zazie. Yeah, Zaddy. It's fun. But it seemed like there was a lot of reverence for the dad who was, special cardiologist, blah, blah, blah. And it's the older sister who follows in dad's footsteps. And I'm wondering if Nneka has a like inferiority complex in relation to that sister. Because the last time we caught a glimpse of that sister, it was the sister and the mom on a Zoom call or something with Nneka. And they were just like, you need to hurry up and have babies. Like, Ikenna's going to leave you soon if you don't. And Nneka like responding to that pressure, like, I do need to hurry. So it seems like she regards the sister as the like accomplished one who she has to like, and if they're competitive, then.
Yeah.
Well, it also made me wonder, like, because Nneka, whenever she's talking about someone being a great person, she'll like go first to their job, their occupation, blah, 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 blah. And Nneka talks about being a lawyer, but is she practicing? Because
I think she's employed as like a corporate lawyer, like not doing, law firm law, but probably like, what did she say? A prominent fintech company.
But why don't I see her as someone who knows? I feel like corporate lawyers like to be like at the desk, like, look at me, like, why is she not acting like Phaedra? Why is she not acting like these other characters?
Because Phaedra was a defense attorney and she had clients and a job.
Why wasn't she like, isn't she? I don't know.
She's ambivalent. She wants to perform kept woman on the one hand, but knows that she also has to work and needs the approval of like some kind of professional standing for her family, but also needs to have a baby. Like, I think she's vexed.
And she's exactly one of those kinds of lawyers whose training does not really come to bear at all in their work, right? Like, but I think it's not just that you have to do litigation to, for your training to come to bear, but in a lot of these jobs, your training doesn't come to bear. They just needed you to technically be an attorney and have passed the board so that they could, have their legal shit covered. And it seems like when she said, I'm a rich bitch, my daddy was a rich bitch. So I don't even like repeating it. It feels nasty. My daddy was a rich bitch and he made sure his daughter, she's invoking Ikenna. It's like Ikenna's money. It's like, oh, but surely you make a good salary. So I do believe she wants to look kept, and her job is just in case anyone comes for her.
Right. Because I would have expected not only Phaedra, but like Wendy. And mind you, I didn't really like it when Wendy came on and was like, I'm my job. But it's like, I don't know. It's just, if you're going to talk about being so high powered, but then it's like, I never see you doing anything but like drinking and talking shit.
Yeah. Well, she's not a 3, right? She might be a striver, but she's not a 3. So it's like, I don't want to respect on the basis of work. I want respect on the basis of status. And I think the status is even more impressive when you don't work.
Yeah. It's like, how impressive am I that I can act like I don't work, but also have the notch in my belt that I'm a trained attorney or something like that. Like, I can have it both ways.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that's it.
You've definitely convinced me. All right. Moving on to Rayvin trying to school Grace about school with Karen and Giselle in the wings. They go to breakfast and it's supposed to be like a cute informational chit chat, but it was not cute to me. It was painful to watch. Grace looked pained. It really brought back my own trauma from that time that I didn't even know I had until I'm watching and I'm just sick. Like,
how do you think Grace feels about Rayvin generally?
I don't want to talk about
probably how we feel about Rayvin.
I wanted to believe that, but I was like, am I just projecting my own disgust?
No. Grace is legitimately cool. Okay, can I just harken back to last episode when they were at self-defense and the teacher does a move and she said, oh, That was so cute. And it let me know, okay, she's a cool girl. I don't know why that's what solidified it for me, but that she could be loudly expressive and then just go, oh, y'all were not startled by that.
But then I think it's important to note, then Grace goes on to be flipping people in that class. And I think just like in the breakfast, like she's open. I think what's good about Grace is that she's like not going like, oh, you can't tell me nothing. She does have, like, she is stressed about leaving her friends, about making new ones, going away from home. So she goes in like, okay, I'm willing to listen. And people were not addressing her at all.
Yeah.
They had their pre-canned things about growing up and going to college, but it was not like meeting her where she was at all.
No, I agree. Rayvin was annoying. Giselle was all right. But Grace's voice gets lost in the whole thing, and she's the one going. We learned she's going to Florida. So on the bright side, she's gonna be in sunny weather all the time and turn up. But on the downside, I think they might be up to lynchings again down there. I'm not sure. And I'm not trying to make an exception out of Florida, for the record. But it's probably just a. I would prefer her to go to UNC Chapel Hill. The greatest on earth.
Great place to cut your TV. Truly though, truly. You get the sunshine, it's halfway up the eastern seaboard, more or less.
It has the best of everything. Okay. But okay, it's fine. But she also says at some point, she's like, yeah, like, I'm having these mixed emotions about going. And Rayvin's like, you just need to be brave enough to go. And she's like, I am.
Yeah, she literally said, I am. She was being not only open to hearing people, but she was open with her own emotions. And like so much of the energy of the other people at the table was like trying to be like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. In a way that it's like, we can't hear what you're saying because it's upsetting to us. So like, what Giselle does, which used to, like when she first was saying this type of thing, I appreciated it, which was like, just because I'm sad doesn't mean you should be sad. Like she's trying to say like, hey, I'm going through it, but I'm excited for you. I'm happy for you. Don't think otherwise. But instead it's like, she's beating a dead fucking horse. Grace is like, I know. She literally said in response to that quote, she said, I have emotions. Grace is sad, and it's not because you're sad, Mom.
Yeah, but Giselle says that because it's like she has to go on the defense about it because she knows she's not actually bringing that energy. You're my oldest. In other words, what I feel, I want you to feel.
Yeah.
Like I have always felt like Giselle thinks she's reproducing herself in Grace. You know what I mean? Like that's her idea of who Grace is. It's like, you're a hot girl like your mom, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, like you really should. It's a nice ambition, and I hope you really strive for it because you should split off the way you feel from the way she feels and stop trying to like crowd out her like she's the star of this project going to college. Okay, let her emotions be louder than yours. If you need to go, Giselle has no one to process with. She has no friends to process with, which would let some of the air out so that Grace could have more space. She won't even talk to Robyn about it.
Yep. Literally, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like the reason why people are doing that comforting, like, oh, it's okay, it's because that's Giselle's energy they're responding to, not Grace's.
Yeah. Well, like all of this staged breakfast, like the self-defense activity these are like rituals of sending the daughters off, because in season 1, Karen takes Rayvin to self-defense right before she leaves for college. Like literally they're reproducing the same kind of like parting rituals for the soon to be off to college girl.
Which is really just about mom. Right? Like
exactly. Like, I'm scared. I need to know that, like, I'm sad. I'm scared. I need to know that you know how to handle yourself. It's like, did Rayvin ask for that? Did Grace ask for that? Or like, do you all just think like, this is what you need here? I'm responding to my anxiety about the unknown.
And Rayvin couldn't parse her own self from Karen in those days. So she was just like, happy to go along with whatever. And I would argue Karen was probably a little less project my whole self into you than, you know, Giselle is. But Giselle has enough of a like, Mom, can I have my emotions? She asked, can I have them? And everyone's like, we're too busy laughing at something Giselle said. It's fine. Like,
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, this episode is all about family connections because next.
Why do you sound like you're reading a podcast? This episode is brought to you by Family Connections, only the best game out. Like,
I did feel like that when I was saying it. We have Robyn and Juan going to the chiropractor. It looks like physical therapy.
With Corey and Carter.
With Corey and Carter.
Where we note what seems to me is that Corey, who's the oldest, right? Is Corey the oldest? His name flashes across the screen as 15. And Robyn says, all right, this is your last week of school, about to start high school. I said, oh, about to start high school. At 15, aren't you already ending the 9th grade, if not going into your sophomore year?
Kristen's eyes were
You're literally halfway through the teens.
Did he feel a grade? You remember that pandemic season where Juan was like,
when he wasn't going to school.
Juan was like, Robyn, you ain't here. We're not going to school. We're not taking the boys. It's like,
yeah, but sometimes Robyn wouldn't take them either, or she would wake up 5 minutes before they were supposed to leave. That was Juan's complaint. Yeah, but then she goes right after acknowledging, you know, Corey's big move. She goes, and Carter, we're gonna get you a tutor for that maths because you not doing well. And I was like, stop. That's mean, right? Like first of all, they're in public. If you're gonna say something like affirming about Corey, say something affirming about Carter, even if they're not in the same place. Like have that conversation about his math thing later, or you know, do a little rose and thorn for Corey and a little rose and thorn for Carter. you can see Carter is gonna be like, I'm the dumb one. Oh, no. His little Riley Freeman voice. What y'all say about me? Same kid. What else happens in
we see Juan come through for the second time with his reasonable analysis of the affairs between Robyn and Candiace, because Robyn gets the text while they're at physical therapy from Candiace inviting her to the Mother's Day brunch, and she's like, I can't believe Candiace just reached out and invited me to a brunch. And Juan says, oh, that's so nice of her.
That was nice of her.
And then you see Robyn Stew like, nigga.
Yes, she literally twitched like. And then he looked, what? She said, nothing.
Again with the Kerry Washington face.
A dental performance.
That's also how that's how you give rage in the teeth. Like
yeah, it's a snarl. And then Juan returns one to her because Robyn tries to say a little like, yeah, so I just know, like, I really would like for you to have a job because I know how passionate you are about having a job. And he's just like,
because why did she have to be coach?
Yeah.
Like your role is coach to the family. And then when Rob is on, you know, the chiropractor table, what does he do? Fake sleep. He can't sleep.
Well, no, it was the same moment. She said, I know that, you know, I want you to find work because your job is important to you and I care about you is the implied thing. But, you know, in the meantime, I really hope we get to, you know, appreciate this.
We really need to be. That's what she said.
That's what she said.
Need to be. Not I hope. We really need to be spending more time together. Like, once again, like coach. Like, that's not, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is the time you make a demand on him, but it sounds like, and make sure you suit up. Make sure you stretch before you hit the court. Like, that's not how you say, like, I'm not getting what I need out of this relationship. You know, you can say it like, these are what my needs are, but she don't sound like that. She just sounds like coach advising them on best practices for shooting drills. Like,
so He was snoring in response.
Well, he didn't go to sleep that fast. He was just like, let me not, I get in trouble when I disrespect you publicly. So let me just do it tacitly.
He said, I'll let you drive us to the chiropractor again in a couple weeks, but
I don't even know.
Get somebody else to do it.
I get in trouble when I disrespect you publicly. Like, I don't even think that's on his mind. He's just like, I'm done. Like, I'm closing my eyes. This is stupid.
I'm not hanging out with you, so stop asking me. I think he has no respect for her because also she seems pathetic because of what she'll tolerate from, like if Juan is a 6, and I believe that he is, it's like a 6 is testing, their fixation is like, who is an authority worth trusting, right? And it's like, Robyn wants to be that authority he can trust. It's a losing game. You have to, because your partner shouldn't look at you like that. He has to relinquish with his attachment to an authority figure in order to relate to you how you need him to relate to you. But Robyn, as usual, Robyn is like, I'll be the authority figure if that's what you can get. Like, it's like, that's not ever going to be sexy. that's
body roll and fishnet tights.
At the pickleball.
But that's the role she wants to step into. It. It's like, he'll never be attracted to that. Like, it's actually a setup. It's not a setup he knows he's doing, but it's a setup. Don't be his authority figure. Instead, she wants to be like, like, next time the family's doing dribbles, like, stop acting like that.
So sad. He does not want a boy mom.
And he probably wants a tomboy, like, hence, Coach Bree, who he's kicking it with. But like, you see what Coach Bree also be trying to serve on her IG posts.
Oh, wait, is Coach Bree the Karen looking one?
That's what they said.
She just had a dot. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
I think she definitely looks more like
a young Karen. Oh, Karen was young. Maybe when Karen was young. Yeah, but it's like, I think the part that is like very scary is this is the most kind of like holding your feet to the fire we're gonna get out of her. And it's like, you gotta spend time with me. Like, you don't know that's embarrassing?
It's sad.
Maybe Robyn has she willed a detachment from that feelings? Like, is like her saying, I don't care, has that made her like not be able to perceive it anymore? Because you're on national television, right? Like, I mean, this goes back to the questions we raised around like the intervention and stuff, but it's like, Robyn, you don't feel that?
Yeah.
You just not feel that anymore?
You know what's really telling for me is on my rewatch, in the first episode of season 1, Robyn tells Giselle, like, we're never gonna have that like in love feeling again. She doesn't say in love, but like that's what she's like, I'm never gonna be excited, like, with when he texts, like, we're never gonna have that again, and like, that's fine, that's not where we are. But it's like, okay, I think she thinks this is how everyone, you just age and then that part of my life is over. And that's okay. I'm not expecting that nor promoting that. It's actually not possible for us,
What is Robyn? Is she a 5?
I don't know. That's very 1-ish, I will say. And 1s do get mistyped with the fear triad.
But the other key thing about her is that the reason why I don't think she can be a 1, the ego of the 1 would not let her be embarrassed over. There's something now that it's like, we haven't been able to just name it like that because we've kind of we've been with this dynamic for so long, it's normalized. She's reveling in the shame. She's not experiencing it as shame, but she's just like, yeah, shit on me. Smear all over my face.
But that's, oh my gosh, is Robyn a 1? Because that's actually the 1's kink, is the fucking martyr.
Yeah, but
that's actually,
if you think about it as the martyr.
Yeah, and she tried to save this poor Black man.
Hold me accountable. She was Jesus.
Yes.
on the cross. Hmm.
And that would explain her attraction to Wendy from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And that would explain the minute she has a conflict with someone, she will never talk to you again. No, but as the internet pointed out, you friends with Ashley again. And Ashley was mocking your poverty.
But
Ashley
listen,
was like, Mom's cheating on you.
this ones will just dismiss people and put situations into boxes. If she thinks she understands Ashley and can keep, and Ashley's in that box, then Ashley's Ashley.
What is the nature of her friendship with Ashley? Because it increasingly feels like it's just like Giselle fucks with Ashley and we're consolidated.
I don't think she's close to her at all or really enjoys her.
Mm-hmm. The only time I can remember them being like one-off is in Mexico where they are at the gift shop and she calls Juan, you know.
And she very quickly has a third person join the dynamic, so she doesn't have to deal with Ashley alone.
And to Ellen's point last episode, how Robyn needs a therapist to tell her what she deserves. Ones have the loudest inner critic. Ones think they are corrupted and they actually do not deserve anything.
Would that explain her saying to Giselle, like, what do you want me to do, Giselle? What do you want me to be? Throw a shoe at him? I'm so mad.
Tell you, I have heard that type of talk from a one before.
She would be criticizing Juan relentlessly. No, she's not a one. She would be criticizing him relentlessly. Like, we still might see the kind of like, that we get from Juan, like this sense of Juan, like, I hate you. But she would be criticizing him relentlessly.
But I'm just saying, like, if she thought in her own one world that, like, what the right thing for a wife to do was not criticize their husband.
Oh, yeah. No, but she might think that and she would still do it passively. But we don't get any sense of that. She becomes Kiki, coy, small, quiet. Like, I don't think.
Yeah.
But we might be close by thinking along the lines of the one.
Katherine, you said the streets think she's a 9.
Yeah, I think the streets do not know the fucking enneagram.
They do not know the enneagram. They do not. They think Michael Scott is a 2. Okay, I will.
And well, the street said 9 wing 8, and I think what they're getting at with that wing 8 is that knuck if you buck masculine energy
and that she merges with Giselle.
Yeah.
I think her mother's a 1. Look at her mom's.
Right.
Look at her mom's face. She's a 1.
Yeah.
It looks like that mother has like not smiled in 40 years.
So she could be a 6 raised by a 1. But I'm saying 6s and 1s commonly mistype.
Yeah. Do you think they're 2 6s together, just having the like worst life ever? The most insecure.
I was thinking that after our last episode, like maybe this is what it looks like, but that's why they seem very directionless.
Is that what happens when you get with your type? You have a miserable life?
I don't know. No one is ever, people always think their partner is their same type. And sometimes I go, oh, cool, 2 of them together. But then I come to find out, no, that other one's not like people want to see their person as the same as them. And it's often like, I find later on, like, that doesn't make sense. That person is not your same type.
I've actually never known a couple that even thinks they're the same type.
Yeah. I remember one time Ellen said that the only ethical woman an 8 man should date is an 8 woman.
I said that and I meant it.
I don't think they would ever date though.
It would swiftly end. But it's the only ethical pairing. Because otherwise you're just a woman getting bullied by an aggressive man. Like, I mean, I guess a 1 woman also is the legitimate other foil possible.
Yeah.
And that's what often happens.
Yeah, I think that's actually yeah. Okay, well.
Let's go back to the Enneagram drawing boards for
Rob.
We'll keep doing our like shadow viewing of the early seasons to cull more.
Yes.
I will say that Robyn's response to Candiace and her whole approach has been one-ish to me.
Yeah. But she could do that on the basis of being raised by a one mom.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we get to the Mother's Day brunch. Robyn does not go. And I'm a slow reader, so I didn't see what her text actually said to Candiace about why she couldn't go, but it was a respectful, oh, that's when they set up, we'll have brunch separately, but I don't want to have this. It wouldn't be
front of the group. Yeah.
It was respectful but cold.
Yeah.
Because Candiace was greeting her with hellos with exclamation points.
Yeah. Hey,
And Candiace also warmly said, well, I hope you reconsider, but if not, I'm happy to take you up on the meeting privately thing.
Yeah. As Juan would note, that was nice of her.
It was nice of her. Yeah.
Wendy also did not show to this Mother's Day brunch. Also convenient. She probably didn't want to be around NECA.
But the way Ashley put it was, I think, very astute. Like, because I was kind of disappointed when that was happening, and I thought it was nice of Candiace to call her at the event. Meanwhile, NECA and her sister are waiting in the wings, like, you're just gonna take a call with her. Like,
so awkward.
I am to make a point to you as well.
Like that was Wendy on the phone when I came in. Is
That's what I doing that. But the way Ashley put it, I think, was astute, because it's like Wendy would have needed to bring her mother, right? And it's like she didn't know whether NECA was gonna bring her mother, and it's kind of like, because at first I was like, Candiace, she has a whole book signing thing to do. Of course she's not, but it sounds like the book signing wasn't even that same day. We know it was at Mark Lamont's bookstore in Philly. So as Kristen offered, she probably left town, even though you could do it in a day. She probably left town to avoid the event, and maybe that was a good idea.
Well, especially if I put back into the forefront of our minds that Wendy actually lives very close to the Pennsylvania border. So she actually lives as close / maybe closer to the bookstore than she does Candiace's event.
But also, I thought you were gonna raise. This is what I was gonna raise, that Wendy hews very close to what her mother says, and so she couldn't risk bringing Mama Sue to the event if she was gonna be a loose cannon, because we never see Wendy discipline or intervene or talk Mom down. It's always like, what did Mom say? Defend it after the fact.
Exactly. Mom is a liability, because frankly, they're both bad liars. So, and you know what? That's best for Wendy, because I don't want to see Wendy lose in these circumstances. If you know you can't think quick on your feet, go ahead and rehearse them reads if you need to. I'm not going to say she rehearses her reads. I'm not. But she needs. She needs to be. It's no problem to rehearse your reads. Okay, we all do it in the shower after a conflict, and sometimes that helps prepare us for the future.
Yeah, you got to replay. You got to get your story straight.
If she's not good on her feet, if she needs the time to heal from the thing so that she can be better positioned, because we know that's what works well for her, right? Like when she's had a significant amount of distance from the thing, and she can come back and go, bitch, I don't give a fuck, and then roast you. So it's probably for the best.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't want to see her. I do not like seeing Wendy get caught up by her own investments. It's not good.
And then but it just ends up being a shit show. There's nothing generative about the conflict when Wendy and NECA are together.
Right. Especially at this point.
Yes. Okay. So.
Ooh, does Karen get the fashion award?
What she looks wearing?
Beautiful. Oh my God, she looks.
I've realized through this whole fashion award, I don't know what I'm looking at, but I can never remember the outfits.
Are you kidding? Okay, Karen walks in platinum blonde, straight lace front,
middle part.
Yep, and then she's wearing this pink sheer tulle. It's like it has an overlay, and that overlay is like asymmetrical hem. So it's shorter in the front and longer in the back, and it's ruffled along the hem. And then underneath is a tighter pink I think layered. The fabric is layered bodysuit, and it's just she looks like an angel.
It was also like perfect for the day. Like if it was a cloudier day, don't wear it. But she just was like
And
a
the way it matched the
Sounds
venue,
beautiful.
the venue was beautiful. I said, "Oh my god, yes, let's do a wooden row of tables and chairs. I don't know the name of that style of chair, but along the pool with the ground and the rich array of springtime flowers.
Floral arrangements were, and now those were not cheap. Okay, flowers are expensive.
I bet you they were cheaper than just getting roses, which sometimes people do quite unimaginatively. Because like if you buy roses in large bundles, they overprice the fuck out of those. It's actually crazy. So you could literally just go through DC and clip and make little bouquets out of those, because that's what they did. They had a million little, vases with these cute little floral arrangements.
It was very cute.
Karen definitely gets the fashion award. She was
all right.
amazing.
I believe y'all.
Oh wait, what about Candiace's outfit for the planning when her and Dot were meeting with the event planner, and she had that little houndstooth hat on, like that houndstooth beret, and she had a blonde wig and a little white, like she was giving us a cute little schoolgirl. Okay, go back and look, please, because when I don't necessarily like when she does blonde all the time, but the blonde was just here framing her face, and she had a beautiful little houndstooth beret on.
What color was it?
White and black, the houndstooth beret.
Okay. All right, we'll go back.
Oh.
I was gonna guess that Karen was wearing a white pantsuit at the brunch, so I'm glad that you clarified.
Okay.
So a bunch of other little tidbits happen at this brunch.
This is the thing. They gave us so much high level, and they gave us tastes, but they didn't let us sit in whatever. So we had. Were you going to talk about Mia and Charisse? Mia and Charisse, you could tell, had such a convo, and we weren't even in it. So Kristen, take it away with that.
Oh, here's a question. Okay. Charisse sees Mia, tells Mia, "Oh, I actually saw Jacqueline the other day at an event in Potomac." And Mia says, "Oh, okay. Is she doing well? How was she?" And Charisse says, "Oh, she actually cried about you, in fact." And then Charisse goes on to tell us that she went to an event in Potomac for women in Potomac, it seems, and Jacqueline was there. And then it seemed like Charisse invited Jacqueline to go to the next thing, and also Nessa was there.
I think Charisse hosted that event at Lot 72 for the women who live in Potomac, and I think she phrased it like that to Mia, to be like, "You don't live in Potomac anymore," so I was just doing whoever's closest.
So here's my question. First of all, to your point, Katherine, about this uber high level scene that could have easily been pulled out, and if we were able to be dropped into any one of the 6 rich conversations we got tidbits of, this is one that could have been its own full half episode arc. Yes. Also, why was production not at this event if both Nneka and Charisse are there? I'll grant you that Charisse is not a housewife anymore, but Nneka is. Why can't we see this event if they literally ran into Jacqueline, who was the whole storyline last week?
I kept thinking they were going to flash back to this event, and then no. And it's like, what are you doing?
Really? Were they there?
No, I don't think so.
I'm only comfortable with it if it's that they weren't invited and the women were allowed to have a moment of fun without their fucking nasty, hateful asses there filming.
That actually seems highly likely, which I'm happy for them.
Okay.
And maybe Charisse gets, if she's hosting it, she gets to say no because she's not a housewife or something.
Yeah, although I doubt she would say no. They probably just didn't check with her. She is actively trying to get back on that show.
Yeah, she's very active.
Right. So then, of course, we see thirsty Nneka corroborate Charisse's account of seeing Jacqueline, and then just throw mud on her name in order to ingratiate herself further to Mia. Yeah, I mean, she was saying all kinds of nasty things about Mia, and it's like, girl, you didn't even pay my tab after all that.
And she was going on for 2 hours. And this is what I will say. If this has been a friendship of a lifetime. How old are they now? At least in their 40s, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll keep it straight.
Yeah, she says they're, but I think they're in their 40s. And this is a friend from childhood. And y'all, you're saying you haven't spoken in a year. Yes. Yes, Jacqueline was crying talking about you. Like when Charisse said that, Mia was like, crying about what? And it's like, oh my gosh, are you fucking? And then she's like, I've had a lot going on this year. And it's like, yeah, so I've been busy. I've had other things to do. So it's just been natural that we haven't talked. No, you've had so much going on this year that you would have thought about reaching out to your best friend.
But the things going on were embarrassing to her. And so she did not want to reach out to her friend in a moment where she felt vulnerable. Because, you know, Jacqueline would never, but she would be well within her rights to be like, karma, bitch, because you played the fuck out of me for this little platform. And look up, and then you kicked me to the curb and a bunch of bad things unraveled for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what did Mia actually said I think in the confessional, she said, I mean, she's crying about me. She's talking shit about me. Like, which one is it? It's like, oh, I just remember last episode, you're crying about her and now you're talking shit about her. So like, don't act like these things aren't like, that people aren't ambivalent, that two feelings can't happen at the same time. Like
same episode, she was crying, talking shit about her in the same episode. When she was talking to Ashley, we could call that crying and talking shit.
Exactly. No, literally. I was assaulted because she left me. Like,
I was assaulted because she left me crying and talking
and I know I'm mean to her, and I know it's not an excuse, but I did, you know, like, you're admitting it.
Yes. No, justice for Jacqueline. I did not like any of that. I did not like that. Because that also shows, and this is like, again, I have been lit for the redemption of Mia, but this, I knew if I ever watched an episode from previous seasons, I would be reminded why I hated Mia in the first place. And this was just enough plot line about Jacqueline to be like, oh yeah, I fucking hate you. Like Jacqueline is acting like a normal hurt person.
Yeah.
And
I
Mia
mean,
is just belittling that.
Maybe Jacqueline is a little emotionally not as stable as she could be. And I don't even say that to be insulting. You know what I mean? I say that like people's personalities fluctuate, and like it is a matter of a personality too, to like experience emotions intensely. And, you know, personality plus circumstance. Personality is a matter of circumstance, frankly, right? Like one's personality is socialized. That's what I'm trying to say. So maybe Jacqueline is the kind of person who will live in her feelings more openly or outwardly than other people. And I'm not begrudging her that. And maybe she would hem up somebody she just met for 2 hours and talk on and on about, you know, it's like, I have a connection to you because you're meeting this woman, let me tell you. And you know, Nneka, she ingratiated herself to Jacqueline the moment, and that's why Jacqueline thought she could trust her. And then, of course, what does Nneka do is recycle the discourse about Jacqueline that Mia was fucking perpetrating last season, and go, she's broke and crazy. You're just repeating what already was proven to be stupid and untrue.
Well, because also it's like, I mean, I feel like this is similar to the moment where Nneka talks about the IVF and then Candiace is like on. It's like, if you have something that's just below the surface, like once someone from the outside validates it, you're there with it. So Charisse at this event clearly asks Jacqueline about the situation. She starts opening up. And then Nneka comes in and it's like asking all these follow-ups. Yes, I'm going to continue on saying this thing. Like, yeah.
Wait, can we consider Mia's entrance? I know it's backtracking, but Mia's entrance into the party, because production does a little funny something here. Now, and this is partly Mia's fault, because she will have talked all that shit about her mom in these previous seasons. But all Mia is telling us is that her mom couldn't attend because she had to work. And she's in that ugly orange number in the confessional where she's just like, we're good though. We're good. And they show her repeating it to make it seem like she's lying and she's fragile and she might break at the mere mention of her mom. Fine. Just show her saying that if you need to. If it seems like a cover up or a lie, like, and you don't feel like being sensitive enough to kind of cover that sensitively, like you want to expose her in the instability of her account, like we're fine. But to run shit she said the previous seasons about her mother, like, can you let their relationship shift or not? Because what they did was play back old audio and not even show it like a flashback. Okay. Yeah. They didn't show Mia in the confessional of those previous seasons. They just ran the audio into what she said this season. Yeah. Into this season's confessional, so that it's like, yeah, my mother is going getting mani-pedis with my sister. Like, what about me? She don't care. Like, they ran that into what she said. Like, she's currently talking about her mom that way.
So it made it seem like not only is she currently talking about her mom that way, but that she is like still saying the same shit. Like that she is like, again, like, fuck you, mom, fuck you, mom, fuck you.
And then they cut to her mom being like, you know, when you were younger, I would think like, oh my God, she gets on my nerves. She reminds me so much. That was such a moment of vulnerability for you to play out of fucking context. You just, once again, these men hate the women of Potomac. They hate them. And I'm beginning to think they hate Black women generally. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, they thought that. I do.
Of an abusive father, like Mia's abusive father. Like she just said, I hated, you know, you reminded me of your dad because he used to beat the shit out of me.
Yeah, she said, you used to get on my nerves because you reminded me of your father. Right. Her father got her mom addicted to drugs and abused her. Like that was her telling her that, reflecting on the past for a long, right? Like saying like, I'm taking accountability. I wasn't the best mom to you I could be. This is the place I was in. And you want to take that shit out of context and play it right now? The woman is not even here. It's Mother's Day?
Yeah, Mother's Day.
And that's the way they bring her up on Mother's Day.
That is sick. Because out of context,
produced by a show full of men who hate their own Black moms.
Oh, Eric, you're not there no more, but yeah. And you know, do you think it's in the contract of the women not to be able to critique production? Because why won't this is the kind of thing that I would want to hear them discuss at reunions. Like, if I'm Mia, I'm like, Andy, can you tell me why the fuck would y'all do this? You know,
no, I think
if I'm watching the season back at the end and see these episodes, I'm just like, oh, the bitch.
This is what I
flood
think.
Andy with questions about production when the time comes.
I think I just saw a TikTok about this, but it was in the context of Jersey Shore. And they were talking about a quintessential Jersey Shore scene that's like so choppy. And a former producer came out and said, it's so choppy because we were cutting out all the times that these other cast members during this fight were yelling at production, like, aren't you going to step in? Aren't you going to step in? And I feel like whatever mention of production that might happen is cut out, and that people don't bring it up in the like reunions, because you've already said like they hate Black women. They will be targeted if they bring this stuff up.
And which is why Candiace gets targeted, because Candiace is the main one. Like, Andy's like, you're a disaster on Twitter. She said, thank you.
Candiace is the only one who's broken the fourth wall on the show. When Giselle was talking crazy about Chris, she said, Eric, where is Eric? She's the only one.
And they showed that.
Yep.
Because they wanted it to make it look like she was some sort of angry Black woman. They also break the fourth wall themselves when they play their audio prompting the women if it's convenient for them, which I'm like, we don't need to hear their voice. Like, it never feels like we needed to hear their voice in those moments where they do that. Why are they doing that? Like, that's the worst reason to break the fourth wall, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that it really does matter on these shows, like your relationship with production, and they will like tear you down if you feel like you cross them.
Yeah, unless the collective power of the viewers. I think we can do it.
Last thing about Mother's Day brunch is this moment. This is such a crazy moment. We already thought this was a rich moment before we took to Twitter, and then it really just doubled in size.
On another level, like another layer of richity.
Yes.
We couldn't have anticipated.
Oh no, there's
Could
one
not.
more that we should just quickly mention.
All
What
right,
speaking of production, what they didn't show us is that Karen did an entire dedication to Candiace did an entire dedication to Karen's late mother, Georgia. Okay, so Karen, who had to show up to this Mother's Day brunch alone, this event alone, because I was kind of thinking, I was like, oh, they should have had, you know, La Dame there, the fragrance or whatever, but that probably was not permissible with, you know, the one Le Marly Parfum or whatever having their stuff there. But it did, what they wanted to happen happened. I was like, oh, Karen's kind of, they wanted us to think that. Meanwhile, Candiace did an entire dedication to Karen's mother.
Instead, production emphasizes Karen arrives first. Nobody's there to greet her. Rayvin had to go back. Her mother's dead. I guess she's just twiddling in the wind. Oh, poor Karen.
Sitting alone on the bench by herself. Like, why?
Was the first one to show up alone, talking to the white woman that works for the perfume company. Like, it was just bad.
We'll link it. We'll link it. Candiace literally says, I honored her because I had been planning this event for a long time, and I was thinking actively while I was planning it, how can I like not make Karen just feel like, you know, not honored or not have Karen's mother in mind. We had the Alzheimer's Foundation come and like do all of it. Why did we not get one even glimpse, nod, or anything toward that? That's nasty.
Nasty. Okay. Anyway.
But then somebody else say this. It's too good. I don't want to jumble it.
Well, no, it starts with that tiny moment. I'm first just like, shout out to Sheila for fucking, you know, popping Ashley's little, what is it? Clipping her wings.
Yes.
Her dreams.
You said it about them getting ready for this Mother's Day brunch, which, by the way, we'll take a whole episode, by the way, of Sheila getting ready, not because of Ashley, but you know, that's what we want. Producers, pay fucking attention. Anyway, you said when she was like, "What's that? The one that make your pussy stink?"
She thought it was like Brussels sprouts.
You got Ashley, I'm hungry. You talking about you got some asparagus and what's the little round joints? You know I didn't bring you up eating that shit. What you and then what?
Oh, Ashley, that's what Ashley was serving her at that time before the brunch.
They were getting ready.
What food do I have? And it was this, that, and then asparagus. And then
Ashley, she was like, no. That was so performative. That's what you want her to eat at what, 7 a.m. before heading to this brunch?
And when Sheila doesn't want to eat the asparagus, that's when Ashley's like, it's healthy.
It's you know, like, does it taste good? Shut up, you dumb B word. So then they're at the table at Candiace's brunch event, and Ashley's like eating what looks like caviar. And then she was whispering like, girl, no, you know you don't like that. You know, you just faking. You know you faking. It ain't good, is it? And Ashley's like, what did she say? I'm
savoring it. It's because Ashley actually starts out being like, this is so good. And Sheila's like, yeah, that's why you're eating so little at a time. You know, you're microdosing, you know. And
what we discover is, you know, my read on that is Sheila's trying to keep it real. Ashley's trying to discipline her vocally by making her whisper like, Mom, don't be so black at the table, okay? What do we find out though? What actually is the discussion that they're listening to?
Ashley has placed her phone in front of them, and Sheila thinks, oh, this is just my Gen Z daughter. Your daughter ain't Gen Z, Sheila, okay? But she thought she was making a TikTok video or something. So she's looking in the camera like, me and Ashley kikiing over brunch. What Ashley is doing is recording the conversation being had across the table. That is Candiace talking to Nneka. And Ashley's dumbass actually posts this conversation. So it's not a live. We can't assume it's a live she's doing, right? Like, I don't know, Instagram live, Facebook
it wasn't a live.
It's a recording. And she does end up still posting it. Apparently very recently. I don't know. Apparently very recently. Now, she thinks it's a gotcha moment. That's what's embarrassing for her. Because what is actually being said by Candiace? So anyway, the point is Ashley's trying to spy and gotcha to Candiace.
And let me just clarify for the viewers, that moment when she's eating slowly is the moment that she's recording. And that's actually why she's eating bit by bit, because she wants to prolong.
And why she's whispering.
Yes. So like, oh, I'm savoring it.
So what we find out she's recording is Candiace having a conversation with NECA. One, they should have showed us. Again, they keep impoverishing the content. Like, they easily could have aired that. We would have loved to hear it. It was Candiace talking to NECA saying, like, yeah, it seems like Robyn and Wendy had a moment of reconciliation when we were in Austin, and I was happy to see it. And, you know, frankly, it's long overdue. I don't know. It's so easy to get along with Wendy. I don't know why they wouldn't be getting along.
And then she said, and it's easy to get along with Robyn. We're not hearing Candiace say positive things about Robyn because they're getting edited out. Yep. And this is the exact...
NECA goes, yeah, Robyn is cool.
Yes. But this is the exact type of scene that actually you're looking for in a show like this. You're looking for it when there's a dispute with certain characters. You want to see the other characters react, not in the confessionals 6 months later, but in real time and amongst each other.
Yeah.
So even though Ashley was dirty as hell and stupid for recording and posting, I have to say thank you, Ashley, because this is what I wanted out of the episode. Like, finally, I'm getting some insight into like what is going on this show.
Don't thank her. Don't thank that hoe. This is just a matter of circumstance that it actually turned out to expose both her stupidity, production's bad behavior, but many of us have been clocking production's bad behavior. Yeah, it's like, and did give us access to some of this content. It's annoying because we have to, like, when we don't get this kind of content, we just have to, like, grasp at straws, like, what's really happening. We just know whatever we saw, don't trust it.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to watch something like that.
Yeah, because you end every episode. All three of us ended this episode like, what even happened?
Yes.
Okay, so then after Mother's Day brunch, we see the last scene of the episode. Candiace and Robyn go eat croissants. And
only one of them ends up finishing the croissants.
Like, I feel like this show is famous for people getting together in the early morning eating sweets.
Yeah, maybe it was afternoon. I don't know. The sun was giving me afternoon, but they were definitely having a tea moment.
Yeah.
Which is all the rage in the DC area, I believe.
It is. Okay, so they're having their tea moment. Really, it's like their confrontation. I feel like, as the viewer, constantly seeing these confessionals from 6 months after the fact, we know what Robyn thinks about the Candiace situation. We know what Candiace thinks about the Robyn situation.
No, Candiace was speaking from the position of how she felt at the time of having the conversation with Robyn. Like, I was still open. I thought there was something to reconcile. And Robyn goes, I was done with that bitch. I was never going to speak to her again. I just showed up so I don't get fined.
Well, yes, and that was a big tell that this scene was about to go way downhill, was that Candiace's confessional, she literally starts, the first phrase was, at the time, I was thinking XYZ. Like, I was thinking our friendship was like, we could reconcile. So it's like very clear that it's like, okay, by the end of this convo, there will be no reconciliation, and they have not reconciled because, you know, at the time she was thinking this thing. But I said that to say, in terms of like, oh, we've heard them in their confessional so much. They actually, this is their first conversation between the two of them where they're actually just saying basic facts about.
Which Candiace notes, thank you for finally agreeing to speak to me.
Yes.
Because Robyn has been getting up, walking away, disregard. Remember when at the table when she started talking to Ashley as Candiace was addressing her in Austin?
Right.
Big baby energy.
Big baby.
Yes.
Not the good kind. Not this kind either.
Not boss baby energy.
So y'all talk, because I really had nothing to say about this. This confrontation went how you would expect. Yeah.
Okay, I will note that Candiace comes in trying to start things off on a good note. She goes, "You look good." Robyn goes, "Thank you, so do you." They pan to Robyn. Robyn don't look good. It was a gift. Like Robyn is dusty wearing sweats, like a sweatshirt dress or something.
They set up the interaction even before she sits down. Like Robyn first goes in, orders, as if she doesn't see Candiace's back sitting there. And Candiace is like, okay, this bitch is going to sit here and, okay.
Yes. No,
There's that stale
love
tension for a minute, you know?
I loved another boy mom scene for Robyn. What do you have with protein?
Say it like that. I was like, protein powder? Like what?
No, I thought I was like, is she confused about this restaurant? And then he's like, the salmon sandwich. She's like, oh yeah, I'll take that.
Please don't call it a boy mom. Like, please don't call it that, because it's almost like she's doing it. So it's like, you see there are deli meats up there on some of the sandwiches, girl. That's what they have. Like, there's pictures. Like, it's fake. It was so annoying. Anyway, Candiace tries to offer a gift. You look good. Robyn is like, huh? Oh yeah, you too. Thanks. And it's like, it's not gonna go well. Yeah. Candiace suggests, like, my intention is only to hear you out, to hear what it is that I did to upset you. Robyn goes, I feel like I don't need to explain myself. Anybody would be upset in this position. I said, okay, you've never been to therapy a day in your life, because instead of naming, like, well, this is how I felt about what you did, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, there's an I feel statement. I feel X in this circumstance because I believe you think I'm not shit, right? Like, she could have approached it at least mature by, you know, normative therapy standards, but she said, bitch, anybody would think this. Like, how dare you speak for us? How actually dare you, Robyn? You're not America's sweetheart. Shut it up. And then we get a conversation that's chopped and screwed. Like, I don't even want to speak to it because I can't trust that it happened in the order that it did. Okay. Like, when I first watched it, I said, oh, y'all really want us to leave with the impression that, like, Robyn was so reasonable and Candiace was just, like, insistent on herself and her own feelings, right? That's what it felt like to me. Then when I rewatched, I think I could piece together a little more some of what was being said, but it still was cut in a way that I just can't trust. Like,
yeah.
Didn't they, I can't remember if this was at physical therapy or if it was in this conversation, but didn't they re-air, as they always do every time they reference the conflict with Robyn and Candiace, the headlines that are supposed to be so damning, but are really just statements of truth?
And I will say, a new clip they've shown is Candiace on Watch What Happens Live talking about Juan, like, why he go to the laundromat with that hoe? You know, Candiace always gonna call somebody a hoe who is alleged to be some sort of mistress. Like, don't be a woman yet, okay? Calm down. But that was a defensive gesture for her friend. She was not talking shit, and she ain't saying nothing that Giselle hasn't said, that Ashley hasn't said, okay? And then
hasn't said.
Right, like, Giselle has literally said these things.
Yeah.
So that's not an example of her talking shit. You see how they want to play with our heads.
They do.
And then the headlines they show are bloggers talking about things they see on the show, bloggers talking about tweets they read, bloggers talking about things they see on affiliated shows. Like, don't use blog headlines to tell us some kind of, to make a claim about Candiace's behavior.
Yep.
You can literally print anything.
It's just signifying. It's like, let me air the blog headline in the style of a news headline to make it seem factual, so that, you know, like, you have a sense, vibes of some damning factual information against Candiace. It's like, you read them, not really saying nothing actually.
Title case, the first letter of every word is capitalized. It must be true. Like,
yep.
Grow up.
Yeah, go on.
Robyn does say something that I think is worth noting that makes me go, oh, you should get the fuck off the show ASAP. Because she's like, you think I would come on this show and throw my husband under the bus? No, girl. Guess who's going to throw your husband under the bus? His lover. She's the one who's going to go public with it. You would do, if you cared about your husband, you would actually lead with the story and try to control the narrative. Okay, I know you watch Scandal. You worked in PR. You know exactly how this works. You know exactly how this works.
Look at what happened when it happened to Wendy. You remember the blogs that Ashley ran with Giselle? Oh, there are rumors that Eddie is sleeping with other women. That's why Wendy had to get her plastic surgery. I mean, you know, like
Right.
that wasn't true.
They brought those to the show. It was them. It was Robyn and Giselle.
Like,
yes.
and Wendy just took it down in the moment. You know, like
Robyn knows the truth. She's playing stupid. She's playing stupid. And the truth is, no, you weren't worried about throwing your husband under the bus because as our rewatch has shown, you are lit to throw him under the bus. Okay. I guess that's what happens when you marry somebody in the NBA rather than someone with an MBA.
Okay.
We don't talk shit about your husband.
Let me speak because I now fully believe that Robyn is a 1. Because that's some shit that a 1 would say. And when a 1 is in disintegration, they go to 4. And that's why we were saying she has had 4-ish behaviors. The martyr saga.
If she's a 1 in disintegration and goes to 4, is that why she remarried him? Because of like the fall from grace or the hopeless romantic or something? Like,
or she remarried him because if it would remarriage stains her. I think, in a 1 sense of like righteousness, it's like, first of all, I endured. Second of all, like if I'll have to be a divorcee and then be in relation to someone as a divorcee, like I'll be tarnished. It's like, they're very invested in sin.
Oh, remarriage to another person. I thought you were saying to Juan. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, remarriage to another person. It's like those markers of sin, according to the Old Testament, that's a 1's moral compass.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, we gonna sit on that theory. But then she says, like, okay, I'm not gonna embarrass my husband. Yes, you are. First of all, yes, you are. You're worried about embarrassing yourself. And here's Ellen's theory. Not because one might wonder, oh, Robyn seems lit to embarrass herself. She's been embarrassing herself since we met her. What is the 1 thing I bet she doesn't want to embarrass herself about? I don't think she wants to seem undesirable.
Yeah.
Okay. To say that Juan is actively, to have to come forward with the story of Juan actively cheating means like, he don't want all of this. Because she shows up with that man talking shit about her, like, being rude. She lets all of that air, keeps having him on the show. But the thing she was concerned about not coming forward with was active cheating allegations.
Yeah.
And then she said, and I would make this decision all again. In other words, I don't learn.
Get her off. Get her off.
Get her off. Get her off.
It reminds me of that. I always think of that damn Drake Rihanna song, Take Care, where Rihanna's like, I've loved and I've lost. I feel like that's Robyn. Like,
oh, I thought it was going to be Chris Brown. Ain't nobody business but my bad. This was after the abuse. Oh my God. That was.
Oh, did that come out? Okay. Different podcast.
Okay. But yeah, I think that's the only thing I really have to say. I don't want to give too much legitimacy to this chopped and screwed conversation because who actually knows what happens. I will affirm Candiace's position. Like, it is unfair to have an issue, the issue that you had with me, and not tell me about it. Like, we have seen multiple times. What's her name? Robyn ignored Candiace's message. Yes. You mad at me? She ignored. It wasn't until months of being ignored that Candiace took to Twitter and was like, the least of us will hide their that's wildly and 1-ish. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. But I also think that it's very important to note, like, Robyn is like, anyone would be upset if a friend took the Twitter and started going, and it's like, yes, I would be extremely upset if Kristen logged off of this and took to Twitter to talk about me. But it would be so different if we were on a Bravo show. Like, they are paid to tweet. They are, supposed to be producing this content. They all do it. Like Robyn has her podcast and does it. Like it's not, this is, and I appreciated that Candiace said that. Like this is part of what we all do.
Not to mention, at the time that she took to Twitter, what she suspected was that Robyn was involved in this plot, which earlier, the three of us were connecting the dots. We need a little more research and homework on our thing before we launch a full-fledged theory. But just recall at Spring Fling, Karen's Spring Fling event last season, that is when we see Chris show up and Giselle go, Chris, yep. Oh, you look so good in pink. How you doing? Throw herself at him. Okay. Mm-hmm. Later, Ashley's like, he was touching Deborah at that event. We see Chris go,
meanwhile,
oh, you ugly. Hello, I'm sorry.
You see a fucking tumbleweed pass between the two of them. And then he goes,
Deborah is coming up on him at the bar and he's like,
oh, hey,
okay, hey. Yeah.
And she re-narrates that look of horror as interest. It's like, no, girl,
we all knew it was a lie. The minute we saw her, we said, not your ugly ass.
Deb, please. Please.
Yeah, Deb, please. And then after that, later in the season, Giselle insists, oh, Chris tried me. She's been throwing herself at him for seasons. It wasn't just that moment, okay? Yeah. It wasn't just that moment. She loves her some Chris. And Candiace always just like, oh, it's okay. It's fine. It's safe. My man's not going to run away with you. It's okay. Like, even if they had a flirty thing, it's okay. But yes. in the face of that flirty thing, to turn around and say that man tried to have sex, like, you're sick. And Candiace was putting two and two together. Now Robyn's not talking to me. Now Robyn is saying things like Chris was inebriated. Now Robyn is saying things, like maybe we shouldn't go to a hotel room. Like she said, oh, just like y'all tried to hatch that plot against Monique so many seasons ago that I was a witness to. Mm. Of course, she's taking to Twitter and saying, how dare you hide your relationship?
Yes. But also, how dare you, even if she didn't know all of that, which she did, it's just like, how dare you? We're about to get canceled. We are about to get recast, every last one of us, like, come the fuck on.
Yeah.
That's Karen's grievance with her. It's like, I'm sorry. We're working. We come here to work. You don't get to.
Yeah. And I could see that being Candiace's too, because she's like, in the name of humiliating myself sometimes, or not humiliating myself, in the name of feeling embarrassed. My husband's yelling at me. I'm yelling back at him. My mom is hitting me with her purse. She's putting all that. You never met a more candid person. Hello, that was embarrassing shit.
It's in the name.
It's in the name. It's in the name. Yeah. So like, I would feel the exact way. Like, I'm not putting myself. Why? Because I'm the black one. I have to be the sacrificial lamb. I have to be humiliated, and you get to look untarnished and green-eyed. Shut up.
It's a betrayal.
And can we just remember that this is Robyn's cover story of herself? Maybe she's getting it from Giselle, or Giselle's helping her reinforce her story. But Robyn was broke down crying at the dinner in Austin saying, I just can't be perfect in relation to somebody's standard of friendship. That is, if Candiace is gonna hold me to account when I do and hold me to account for what I do and say, I'm not gonna be perfect enough. That's her real gripe. That's her real issue.
And that is the gripe of a one.
Yeah, I was like, oh dang, you didn't finish the story. Oh dang. You didn't finish it. Yikes.
That is their main thing. You can never have a problem with the one because they're already ready with, I know I'm not perfect. I know. And it's like, okay, that's not what we're saying here.
Ooh, yeah. Like, and then also like, I mean, the whole, me too. Like, if that isn't the picture of a martyr, the one is the martyr, everyone. Dang.
That clicks for me.
Okay, well, on the rewatch, we're gonna watch it from that lens, but
we're doing back watches of the prior season, so we'll bring
watches.
Back watches. We're doing back watches of the different seasons. We'll bring it to bear.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
Well,
we want to hear people's enneagram theories, but if they're calling Robyn a 9, we don't want to hear them. but
I feel like
Good
someone
take.
saying 9, wing 8, someone that doesn't know the Enneagram well, that kind of translates in my mind to 1.
yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
Yes.
Like and subscribe. Let us know what you think. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.